health is not about being disease-free.
Yeah.
Achar, vichar, ahar, vyahar and vyavahar. And the thought in my mind was, am I not breathing?
Yoga off the mat and Gita beyond the book.
You kid on the block is meditation.
Meditation. So how does yoga really help in controlling distractions of the mind?
But does yoga stop there? That is where the question is.
Yoga helps you, gives you freedom from your sorrows.
According to me, the Bhagavad Gita is one of the best books on human psychology.
Exactly.
See, yoga, according to me, is Anadi Ananta. As long as we are flexible, we are alive. Death
Very
is
true.
stiffness. Live life peacefully, live life joyfully, and live life with awareness.
If we had more time, I would have loved Mary to ask you some out of syllabus questions. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a fresh episode of OMG Oh My Gita podcast. Today's episode is dedicated to the upcoming International Yoga Day, and we have a very, very special guest with us, Yogacharini Anandi Mary Cecile ji. Welcome, Mary, to the show.
Namaste and thank you so much for having me.
The International Yoga Day this year, the theme is Yoga for Healthy Aging. So today's topic is mostly revolved around that, and we will know from Mary how to age in a healthy way. So first of all, I'll introduce Mary to you. She is the founder of Sannidhi Yoga, Associate Professor and Head of Department Yoga Sciences at NSHM Knowledge Campus, and Vice Chairperson of the West Bengal chapter of the Indian Yoga Association. She is a master trainer in the Indian Knowledge System under the Ministry of Education, and she holds an MSc in Yoga Economics and PhD in Yoga Therapy. So, whatever you learn today from Mary will definitely help you become healthy and wise. So, Mary, I would like to ask you that what do you ideally mean by being healthy?
See, according to me, health is not about being disease-free. Health is about being in a state where you are at ease with yourself. Now, when we talk about our Indian knowledge, health has been defined in two successive layers. The first one is arogyata, which is diseaselessness, and the second layer is swasthya. Swasthya is actually swa and sthya, to be established in your own self. The very basis of yoga is also realizing the self, self-realization. So once you realize that everything around you is transitional in nature and that there is a witness behind everything, I think that realization by itself is being healthy.
So now that we understood somewhat what healthy aging is, can you, for your viewers, share one daily choice they can make in their lives for healthy aging?
See, I'll say one statement.
Yeah,
Achar, vichar, ahar, vyahar and vyavahar.
absolutely.
Because, aging is not the problem.
Mhm.
The way we respond to the term aging is where the problem is.
Right. So, Mary, what do you think is a correct age to start practicing yoga?
The moment you are born.
Is yoga or Gita a religious practice?
No. See, if you are a yoga practitioner and if you are a Hindu, you become a better Hindu. If you are a Christian, you become a better Christian. If you are a Muslim, you become a better Muslim. In fact, according to me, the Bhagavad Gita is one of the best books on human psychology.
Exactly. It is all
in
about
the
that.
entire world, in my opinion.
And approximately when did the practice of yoga start?
See, yoga, according to me, is Anadi Ananta. When you look at the references, what we talk of historical evidential reference, the term yoga is mentioned even in the Rig Veda.
True.
And Rig Veda is one of the oldest written scriptures available to mankind. So yoga is as old as we are born.
So what is more important, flexibility or consistency?
Both.
Because some people
Flexibility.
tell me that I am not flexible, strong enough. Yoga is not for me.
So, as long as we are flexible, we are alive.
Alive.
Death
Very
is
true.
stiffness.
Very true.
Mm.
So, Mary, I am sure our viewers would love to know, how did you start your yoga journey?
So, I did not choose yoga. Honestly, yoga just happened to me. My kids were just born. I had a very difficult pregnancy. I had put on a lot of weight. I had a lot of hormonal issues,
Mhm.
and I needed to lose that weight. That is how I walked into a yoga studio,
Mhm.
not even knowing that what was in, store for me.
Right.
And honestly, that first class was, I remember it was a sadhu who told me that you need to learn to breathe correctly.
Mm.
And the thought in my mind was, am I not breathing?
Mm.
Firstly.
Right.
And secondly, by breathing correctly, how am I going to correct my health?
Mm.
And how am I going to lose these extra kgs that have added on due to my pregnancy? That is how yoga happened. And honestly, there was no stopping since then.
Today's generation, the
Mhm.
generation we call Gen Z,
Mhm.
they are going through a lot of anxiety, stress, confusion. So, do you really think practice of yoga can help them?
See, if you ask a one-word answer to that, I call yoga the instruction manual for life.
Right, right,
And when we pick up, most of us use a smartphone.
right.
We are using it right now. All the devices we use, each of it comes with a user manual.
Right.
Interestingly, life does not come with a user manual.
That is the main thing.
School teaches us, college teaches us, even though I'm a professor, college teaches us how to earn a living.
Right.
It does not teach us how to live.
True.
So definitely, it is not only the practice, it is the science and the art of yoga, which can actually help Gen Z to navigate through these mental health issues that they are facing.
Right. One day he was just referring to Gita as a manual for life. I was like, Acha, yoga also we say is just not a mere form of exercise, it's a way of living. And then,
So, I'll interrupt you there.
Yeah.
Gita is one of the most revered texts on yoga. Every chapter of the Gita is on yoga.
Right,
It
exactly.
ends
I was coming to that. I was absolutely coming to that. So, yoga and Bhagavad Gita are mainly for senior citizens. Yoga and Bhagavad Gita are primarily about escaping from the worldly responsibilities. And yoga and the Bhagavad Gita can help improve mental and emotional well-being.
Yes.
If you are happy and successful in life, you don't really need yoga or the Bhagavad Gita. Yoga and Bhagavad Gita are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Facts. Viewers, are you watching? Yeah. Careful. You need to spend several hours every day to gain any meaningful benefit from yoga or the Bhagavad Gita. Myth. So, it's not that you need to spend your entire day practicing yoga or studying the Bhagavad Gita, but just getting started, being there, understanding, feeling what you do, being present, like we say, is first the most important practice. Okay, so I keep coming across this phrase, yoga off the mat. We say yoga on the mat and yoga off the mat. If you just can explain what is yoga off the mat in a language our viewers will understand.
See, not being judgmental,
Right.
but this concept has come from the modernization of yoga and not being judgmental again, no offense, mainly by the Western world, simply because they did not have access to the depth of what yoga is.
Right.
A certain portion was picked up, which was the physical practice.
Right.
Asana, pranayama, and the new kid on the block is meditation.
Meditation, right.
Now, meditation is not separate from yoga. Bhagavad Gita is not separate from yoga. The philosophy is not separate from yoga. So, on the mat, yes, you need to have a sadhana.
Right.
which will help you to, balance all your physical faculties, your physiological faculties, your mental faculties, which will help you to lead your life off the mat.
In yoga, we have studied yoga chitta vritti nirodha, right? So chitta in a common person's language is the mind. So how does yoga really help in controlling distractions of the mind? In simple word, layman's word.
Okay, let me try to explain this. Because the term chitta actually, encompasses the conscious, the subconscious,
Right.
and the unconscious mind.
Mhm.
We have this concept of karma,
Mhm.
and it is because of this karma
Mhm.
that, our philosophy believes
Mhm.
that we go through this cycle of birth and death.
Right.
So, this fluctuation of the chitta, which
Mhm.
leads to our birth and rebirth,
Mhm.
has to be stopped. And that technique is what yoga is. Now, see,
Right.
all of our philosophies are very spiral in nature.
Right.
It's not that, everything is flat.
Linear, yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
So, when we understand it at right now that, okay, my mind is agitated,
Mm.
and how do I calm my mind?
Right.
Yes, there are techniques which are going to help you. A
Mhm.
simple pranayama, a simple breathing technique
Right,
is going to help you.
Right.
But does yoga stop there?
Mhm.
That is where the question is. And it will depend on your mental faculty,
Right.
at what level you are, and to what extent you can adopt yoga.
Very right. Very right. Another doubt I had in mind, not doubt, clarification for our viewers, that yoga is defined as karmeshu kaushalam, right? Skill in action. So, what exactly do you mean by skill in action?
See, the mind fluctuates.
Mm-hmm.
The mind is made up of the gunas. It is always fluctuating between the rajas and the tamas. Yoga helps us to increase the sattvic aspect of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And sattvic aspect of the mind helps you to be one-pointed, focused, yet be in a state of calm and composure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, what should be. Yes.
Should be. So, Mary, most of the people understand yoga is just asanas. And like you said, pranayam, and the new kid on the block is meditation. Yeah. So, can you introduce our viewers in very simple languages to the 8 limbs of yoga?
See, the 8 limbs, the Ashta Angas of yoga,
Right.
starts with yama.
Mm-hmm.
So, yama, I would say, is those practices which help you transform from your subhuman qualities to your human qualities. Niyama are those practices which elevate you to the humane qualities.
Right.
Asana are the practices which help you to live rightly with your body.
Mm-hmm.
Pranayama, rightly with your vital energy.
Mm-hmm.
Pratyahara, rightly with your senses.
Mm-hmm.
Dharana, one-pointedness, how you can take
The
that
focus,
fragmented mental energy and make it one-pointed. We've all played as a kid. We took a mirror and we showed it against the sun and it burnt a paper. So when the mental energy can be focused and one-pointed.
Like we give the example of the rock,
Yes.
if you keep on hitting it at putting something at one point,
Yes.
the water
Even
erodes
water
the rock,
can melt the rock.
Right.
Exactly. And dhyana, of course, is meditation, where, you are now transcending the normal day-to-day aspects. And there is the power of choice, the higher power, the power of discernment of a human being that only a human being is blessed with. You start to realize that. And
Right.
samadhi, of course, is that state where you are completely at state of equanimity. Samadhi is where Patanjali Yoga starts.
Oh.
Because the journey is to Kaivalya, to Nirvana,
Okay.
to Moksha. Chapter 1 is Samadhipada.
So, like there was a Sanskrit definition of yoga which says Dukha Samyaga Vyagam Yoga. So yoga helps you, gives you freedom from your sorrows. So
Mhm.
exactly how does it do that?
See, once you have transcended the mind is like the CPU, the central processing unit between the external world and the internal world. Once you've transcended that faculty and you are, able to stay in a state of equanimity, if we bring in the Pancha Kosha from the Taittiriya Upanishad, and you are navigating
To the
through
Manamaya
life, through
Kosha,
your Vijnanamaya
Mek-
Kosha, through
from
your
Manamaya
wisdom.
to Vikramaya.
Where is sorrow? What is sorrow?
Right.
And why would you be affected by sorrow when you know that your real nature is not the mind?
Not the mind. Right. That's beautifully explained, Mary. How important do you think it's for yoga teachers to introduce a bit of yoga philosophy in their studios so that the students understand it's not that just that 1, 2, 3, 4 counting and holding a pose, and it's an internal journey, because that's what we see in yoga studios happening, right? People posing, they're posting pictures, and they are going from one pose to the other, and if they fail at an advanced pose, they are very depressed and they discontinue. Like, I can't do a split, I can't do a headstand. So they are not learning to letting off that ego on that mat, right? So how important it is for the teacher to introduce a bit of yoga philosophy?
See, as I said, yoga is the art and science of living life. The practice without the philosophy, or the philosophy without the practice,
right,
is like, having one side of the coin. Now, having said that, in a yoga studio, because I have also, been a teacher who taught in studios.
So I have been, that's why I'm asking.
Yes. See, it'll depend on a couple of factors. First is, the age of the participant who has come to practice. The second thing is the mental faculty. How deep can the person go? So as a teacher, we should be able to judge what does the participant enjoy. Some of them just enjoy physical movement, and there's nothing wrong in that. Some of them want that, intellectual stimulus, and there's nothing wrong in that. So, it will be the discretion of the teacher.
Depending on the participants. So, Mary, 3 tips for healthy aging.
So, the first thing is we need to appreciate the fact, according to our scriptures, we have been blessed with a human birth after 84 lakh births in different forms of different species. So value that life, live life peacefully, live life joyfully, and live life with awareness at every breath. So with this, we come to the end of our podcast. So as far as my understanding goes, both Gita and yoga, they are manuals for life. And there's no particular age that, okay, I have already spent 60 years of my life, it's too late to start practicing yoga or study the Gita. No, you can start at any age. Whether you are 15, whether you are 50, whether you are 75, it's never too late, because it's a manual for life. Whenever you start it, you will grow wiser, happier, and live a much more calm and peaceful life if you begin these practices. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you so much, Nishant, for such an enriching session.